I think a successful consultant is one that is a people person. They like
Speaking in front of people, leading meetings.
You've got to have an open mind. You've got to like people.
You have to be very humble and
Willing to throw yourself into unfamiliar situations.
and teach yourself things that you don't know, because you are considered
An expert, because most of the time these people are hiring you to be an expert. Hi, my name is Dan Bedrosian. I'm a consultant. I've been a consultant since 1997. I work in the healthcare field, and primarily dealing with information technology, or IT. Work life is
usually people travel, not always this far.
There's a lot of travel involved. That means getting on airplanes,
I fly out Sunday night on a red-eye,
having rental cars,
get into Michigan on Monday,
staying in hotels,
going to work very long hours,
and then getting home on the weekend.
and then Thursday night I get to fly home to California, and I work from home on Friday. So it's a very unique situation with consulting. Usually people travel, not always this far.
You're also, once you actually get to the place of work, you're meeting all sorts of new people.
And it's kind of difficult because usually consultants are at a client site all week, so you don't go to your own company's office. It's kind of hard to have a feeling like you're part of your own company, and it's difficult to get to know people within your own company. So it's kind of unique from other positions.
Every engagement is something new, which is something that I like about consulting. I'd say the biggest advantage is that I accumulate so many frequent flyer miles and hotel points.
If you travel a lot, there are tons of perks.
I can use frequent flyer miles and get tickets for all of my family members. I can get hotel points, so we can get rooms in hotels for free.
So I've gone to Hawaii twice, and I'm going to London soon just off points without having to pay anything.
And from an intellectual standpoint, I think the advantage is that you're exposed to new situations each time.
It's also great for your career. It puts you on like a trajectory. I mean, you have to do things that most people would never have to do. You are under a lot of pressure. It's a very fast work environment, and you have to learn things very quickly. So after you're done with consulting, if you decide to leave that field, you can very quickly be promoted through a firm.
You're constantly challenging yourself and learning something new. The typical project for a consultant, especially an IT consultant, generally a couple of varieties. Probably the most common is an implementation or project management. You have a specific project and you work on it until it's complete. As a project manager, you're managing all of the people and all of the tasks that go into getting to the implementation of the system. The work I do as an IT strategy consultant is just a little bit different than what most projects are like for IT consultants. For me, projects are a little bit different. I do more with the strategic aspects of information technology. I'm helping an organization decide what they should plan to do and how they should go about doing it, what systems they may need in the future, what changes they need to make to their organization, and so forth. So a typical project for me consists of going out to the client site, traveling there and interviewing people at the hospital, since I work in hospitals, and then I come back home and I start working on my reports that I prepare for them. and then I'll schedule 1 or 2 day visits to go out and share what my findings are, and then based on what sort of decisions they make about my findings, I'll come back with a plan on another visit for another 1 or 2 day time period. Prior to becoming an IT consultant, I worked at a hospital, a local hospital, and I worked there for 10 years. I started there as a project manager, and I left there as an assistant director, and got into consulting right afterwards.
Okay, before I was a consultant, I worked for a year at a company called Owens Corning. Their logo is the Pink Panther. If you've seen that, they make insulation and other building materials. I worked in their IT department, and I did global technology deployments. So I got to travel to Europe a couple times, which is pretty cool to do right out of college. And that helped prepare me because I was mentored. I had someone that had 30 years of experience, and they taught me everything they knew, and that was everything I needed to know for the job I'm in right now. You have to be an expert, so that was a great opportunity to get me started in consulting.
Prior to that, I worked at another local establishment, but in a completely different field. I was in an automotive finance company. That was the first job I had out of college. I had a bachelor's degree in computer science, and I started work at that very first company as a programmer, and left there as more of a project leader type role. So the consulting career since '97, I've changed consulting companies a few times, but I'm actually back with the company that I started with, and and that's been since '97. So I guess it's been about 16 years now.
To be a consultant, you have to be good at what people call soft skills, like communication, whether it be oral or written.
I think the thing that you really need to do to become a consultant is to learn enough about the field that you're in so that you can market yourself as an expert.
And you have to be an expert in some field. So usually you become a consultant because you do well in your field, and it's a great opportunity for you to start your career or to finish your career, but it's not usually something you say, I want to be a management consultant. Usually there's some other reason why you end up in that field.
You'll be able to tell people that, yeah, I know all this stuff. I can help other people with it.
Basically, consultants are supposed to advise people. So you're either kind of known as an advisor or you're an expert. So a lot of times I work with the accounting department on my project. I know a lot about the technology we're implementing. They know a lot about the accounting principles and their standards at the company. So I work with them to merge their accounting policies and their data into the system, and I guide them through the whole process.
Negative aspects with traveling. Yeah, there's always issues with traveling, just about on every trip. Very rarely do things go as planned.
Traveling is not fun when you're delayed and you can't get home and you're away from your own house all the time, your family. It's a lot of pressure to be under all the time. You work very long hours and it's very exhausting.
Sometimes you're working in rural locations where there isn't a major airport nearby. You've got to get rental cars, you've got to make hotel arrangements. Some of the rural areas, the hotels aren't five-star hotels. They're not necessarily all that nice. And you can have issues with the rooms and so forth.
You're always on call. Someone's going to call you. I got a call this past Saturday at 8 a.m. I thought it was my alarm clock, and it was my client calling me. And it's tough. It wears people out very quickly. A lot of people don't last in consulting for very long.
Using a GPS or an app on your phone that's got GPS with driving directions, that's really helpful. And also the apps that allow you to track your flights and so forth, those are really helpful. But a big problem that we have, especially during the winter months and sometimes in the summer months as well, is weather. You can have flight delays that throw your whole schedule off. If there's a blizzard, either on the airport you're departing from or the airport that you're heading toward. In the summertime, we have problems with storms. I've had flights that were canceled and delayed because of hailstorms down in Texas, and I've also had flights that were delayed getting out of Detroit in the summer with just really heavy rain, storm, lightning. I had one engagement where I was going to Vermont, and there were bad storms in Detroit to the point where we were 8 hours late getting out of Detroit. I ended up departing right at midnight. We didn't land in, actually we had to take a different flight to go to New Hampshire, so we ended up not finding a nearby airport but finding another one that wasn't affected by the rain and the storm, and then we had about a 5-hour drive after we landed. So I had an 8 o'clock meeting scheduled the next day, and I got 1 hour of sleep before I was able to get to the client site. So yeah, weather can really throw a monkey wrench into your plans. There were about 6 different teams. Each of the teams had a set number of objectives that they had to accomplish, and I just managed them, made sure that they had the information they need, and we worked, each of those teams worked toward achieving each of those objectives.
I was looking for a job and I wanted to relocate to California, and I thought it was interesting and it'd be a really good way to start off my career.
And the last phase of what I did essentially was documenting it all. I put together about a 100-page report or so that just listed all the things that we did, so that if anybody audits us, we can show that yes, we met these and here's the evidence for it. So it was a unique project. It was different than the other ones I've done, and I liked that. It allowed me to use some other skills. So you're ending up flying on smaller planes to very rural parts of the country. And
John, I'm getting going, okay?
a few years ago, the American Recovery and I forgot what the name of it is. You'll have to cut that part out.
Okay, hopefully it's cut out.